Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. So today I'm here with another interesting review come first impressions. Now earlier I never used this product. I bought it but then I was not quite sure using of it because I thought the shade was not right. So by the title of the video you already know that I'm talking about the No Filter Concealer Foundation and the primer which COLOURPOP launched. Now it's not a very new launch, it's quite old, but then I wanted to get my hands on it and try it myself once because I have heard a lot of mixed review on the same. So let's know what I feel exactly. So this is the finished look. I will be definitely showing you the application part and you'll know what exactly my thoughts are during the application and my final thoughts after the application. Now before we get into the application part, let me show you the products itself. Now you are getting this kind of outer box of the primer. This is called the All-Star Primer. It's a matte plus blurring primer. It's into a cream base. Now the primer will cost you $8 or $10 as much as I remember. Everything I will try to mention it on the screen so that you know the price and everything. So this is how the inner body of the primer looks like. Now I really love the packaging of this particular primer. Like it's lovely, pinky, and all the details are mentioned behind the tube. You're getting 25 grams of product and I think it will last you enough time, at least if you're using it regularly. Definitely it is going to last you longer. So all said and done, I really love the packaging altogether and the pricing point. Let's move on to the next product which I picked up was a foundation. Now COLOURPOP launched their liquid foundation and later they launched their stick foundation. Now I'm a person who loves stick foundation, but getting it right is in itself is a task. So this is how the outer body of the foundation looks like, and it's a normal cardboard packaging. All the details will be mentioned on the box itself and the shade name will be mentioned here so that you know what shade you're buying. Now the problem with buying this stick foundation altogether was like you see a different shade and you get as a different shade. Like if I'll tell you, if I bought a different shade altogether because after seeing it on the screen I felt this is the right shade, but when I got it, it was way lighter than the shade I picked up. So I would say when you're picking up your foundation, be very sure what you're buying. But my idea would be, if you are thinking that this particular shade is my shade, I would say go at least 4 shades down, because I have actually gone 6-7 shades down than my skin tone, and still I feel I was not right when I was picking up the shade for me. Now I'll show you the outer body of the stick foundation. This is how it looks like altogether, and you get the information and the shade name here, so you know what shade you have got it. Sorry, and then it's a nice packaging. It's not a flimsy packaging, and then you get your foundation. Now if you see the foundation, it's way yellow, way orangey toned, and I had a little difficulty with this foundation as a shade match. So on that I'll go at the end and tell you what was the problem. But altogether the packaging and the pricing point was on point, and you're getting 9.5 grams of product in here. It's quite a lot of product for the price you're paying. Let's move on to the third product which I picked up was a no filter concealer. Now as you know, getting a concealer correct after Tarte Shape Tape is like a task, I feel, in the beauty community, because after Tarte Shape Tape I feel the best concealer people today talk about is the Makeup Revolution concealer. So this was like I wanted to buy because I wanted to see what it does exactly. Is it the perfect concealer or it is just another concealer? So I got the shade medium 26, and earlier I bought the shade light 16 or 18, because as I'm telling you, when you see the shade on the screen you feel this particular shade is a right match, but when you get it, it's way lighter than your own skin tone. So when you're buying, be very sure what you're buying. So this is like the second purchase I did, and the first one I have just kept it like that. So am I really happy with this shade? Yes, quite a bit, but still not convinced with the shade. Okay, so enough of product info. I will mention everything on the screen, but let's move on to the application part and then I will give you my final thoughts.
So let's get started. So I'm using this ColourPop Superstar Primer. It's a cream based primer, quite moisturizing, and it will keep your skin hydrated. I personally quite liked the primer in a whole, and I'm always in search of this kind of a primer for my skin, and I really loved it. So bang on 10 on 10 to the primer. Next, I started with my stick foundation, and as you can see on the screen, it is quite yellow, and I started applying directly on my skin. Now, as you know, generally we apply the foundation and start pushing it inside, like onto the skin with the beauty blender, and I started doing that. And during the course of application, I realized that it was getting very hard for me to blend the foundation on like properly into my skin, and it was getting a little patchier. So I still kept applying, and I went with the second coat. Generally I don't go with the second layer of foundation on my skin, but with this one I had to go again back and forth with a brush. Now I'm using a stippling brush to push in the foundation, and I'm still not quite convinced. So I thought, let me just finish off the whole face and let's see the final result. So this time I didn't use my beauty blender, and I started straight away with my brush. Now, as you can see, I'm applying and the shade doesn't match at all to my skin tone, and I was quite unhappy, and I was thinking like I'm looking like a ghost currently. So let's jump on to this concealer. I'm using the no filter concealer, and I applied it all over my face wherever I thought I should conceal. And so I started using my beauty blender to spread the concealer all over, and I really loved the consistency of the concealer as a whole because it blended in seamlessly. So bang on, I would give 10 on 10 to the concealer, and you can definitely go ahead and buy the concealer. So this was the final result. I hope you loved the application part and you get some idea.
Okay guys, so as you saw the application part and how I feel about the product, now this is the final look I came out with. Now personally I would not say it was a bad look, but then let me go step by step. What do I feel about the primer? A primer altogether, I really liked it. Like, I feel it was a good purchase, and I will continue using this particular primer because I love cream based primers, and this is really hydrating on the skin. Secondly, it is really pore filling for me. I would not say people who have very huge pores, it may do a great job, but then for me it's a perfect primer, and I see myself using this more often than my silicone one. So big thumbs up for this particular primer, and you can definitely go ahead and buy one for yourself because for this price you're getting a bomb primer. So I really love the primer, so big thumbs up. Next, let's jump onto the foundation. Now, this is how the foundation is. Now, personally, I didn't like the foundation that much because I feel you have to work really fast with the foundation. Secondly, when you saw me doing my application part, I was not quite happy with the application itself because it gets patchier. So you have to be very clear when you're, or like, you know, when you're doing your application part, you have to really check every point of your face that have you applied it properly, because firstly, I'll tell you, it was not at all matching with my neck. Thirdly, I had to work really hard to match my neck with my face, but there's a huge difference. So I'm not quite happy with the shade also. So I think ColourPop should mention the shades or should show the swatches well on the screen, because I don't know, it is difficult to pick up your shade in ColourPop stick foundation. Like, I have been using Makeup Revolution stick foundation. I love it. It's the smoothest stick foundation I have used, and you can use your beauty blender to blend your foundation. But with this, you need a brush, and with the brush also, it's a little difficult. So do I recommend buying you? I I'm not sure that I will recommend you to go ahead for this particular foundation. It may work as a good contouring stick if you go for a darker shade, but not as a foundation. I see this me using so often. Okay, that's about the foundation. Let's move on to the concealer. The concealer is the shade medium 26. A lot of you people keep asking me again and again. So it's medium 26. Was I happy with the shade of this? I would say I'm not very disappointed, but I'm not very happy because I have a mixed feeling on the shade. Do I feel the texture of this particular concealer? Yes, I do like it for myself. Because if I would say that if you're a very dry skin, you will still enjoy it. If you're a combination to oily skin, you will definitely enjoy it. Like, it is for all type skin. But again, coming down to the shade, I have a little disappointment. This is the second concealer I have bought, and it's like, wasting your money again and again. So be very sure when you're buying, and my recommendation, whatever shade you feel is correct for you on the screen, pick a shade at least 3-4 shades downer. Still, I feel you will not get your right shade, because that's happened with me twice. So that's one thing which I just want to like to mention. But do I really approve of this concealer after using Revolution Conceal and Correct? Definitely, hands down, you can definitely go for the concealer. So all the three products, I was highly disappointed with the foundation, but I'm really convinced with the concealer and the primer. I hope you loved watching this first impressions, and give a thumbs up if you really loved watching, and keep watching and keep supporting. It really means a lot. So thank you so much for watching. Take care and bye-bye.